Hi, I am Ross Burland. I'm analyst and editor for FX Street. I want to touch very briefly on the FOMC. If you've been following my analysis at all, you'll know that I'm a bear on the US economy. You'll know that I don't see any rate rises coming this year. And you'll know that I wasn't surprised about the huge turnaround in sentiment that we saw yesterday after the decision. Now, the decision obviously was to hold, no surprises. What was shocking to me, in fact, was that the FOMC feel that risks have diminished to the US economy. I think there are more risks to the US economy than there ever have been, you know, bar decades of recessions in the past. But so going forward, this is what the markets are looking at. Going forward, they don't see a rate rise coming in September. There might be one in December. But there's very little chance of that as well, and the Fed's funds rate shows you that. So does the gold price. So does the value in the dollar. So does the stocks being so inflated in this bubble. They also show you that. And that's what we saw yesterday. So I was right going into that meeting, right to play long of dollar, but right to to take profits and see that that the markets will be heading back to a more neutral tone. What did surprise me, well, not surprise me, but what took me back momentarily was the huge turnaround. Gold through the roof. Moving ahead, we move to the RBA. The RBA, I feel, are going to pause. I think they'll pause because they're going to foresee a weaker greenback going forward. So that eases a bit of pressure away from the strength of the Aussie dollar and the detriment that it has on otherwise on the Australian economy. The biggest concern has been inflation, actually, and this week has been a positive one in that respect. CPI came out much better than expected, so I think that will give reason to pause for the RBA. Then we move to the Bank of England. Now you see how this week is starting to pan out. Very eventful. The Bank of England are going to have to be very aggressive, I think. We've had some poor numbers. The media like to spin it, but potentially heading towards a recession. Well, was the UK economy doing particularly well anyway? So of course this is the tipping point that could push it over the edge. Personally, I feel that the vote is positive in the longer run, but we'll see. I mean, UK Parliament is being led by Theresa May, who was never on the Brexit camp anyway. So we'll see. Tough negotiations ahead between the UK and Europe, but it's a two-way passport. Europe needs Britain as much as Britain needs Europe in terms of trade. So that's one to monitor very, very closely. I think the pound is going to tank massively as the Bank of England warn of risks ahead for the UK economy as data continues to prove negative, and with an aggressive cut of say at least 50 basis points, and sentiment for further easing. That is going to be the policy of the Bank of England. They're going to be concerned about growth. So, they're going to have to take these drastic measures. And markets, the markets are the biggest risk, though, to the pound. Markets like to push the barriers. And, that was very evident in the ERM. So once 130 goes, 120 is not an unrealistic scenario, which is obviously very positive for UK exports. So moving forward from the UK, we then move into the US jobs. US jobs, I'll be looking for revisions to last month's, and I again encourage you to read my analysis. The headline number is something that the market jumps on. Then they start digging in behind that headline number. But even besides, what is behind the number, you've got to look at how the number is made. And the US economy, if there's a huge increase and further than expectations, well, that's fantastic, excellent, and the dollar rallies. But once you analyse what these numbers are made from, you'll see that the majority of it are part-time jobs. And that doesn't allude, to stability going forward. What the economy needs is an increase of longer term jobs and higher paid jobs, and that's something that the US economy doesn't have